Okay, I want to call to order the Invasives Remediation Working Group. It is now 4:03. We need to approve some past minutes, and some of them we have done, some of them we haven't done.
So we'll just skip that till the next meeting.
Skip it? Fine. Okay. Charles, how about you going ahead with your presentation?
I got a presentation?
You're going to
we
tell
want you to talk
Okay.
about the quotes.
Gotcha. Okay. So during the walkthrough, obviously, let's just start from scratch. The idea was we would divide up into 3 parcels where we were working. Obviously, A, B, and C. A being in front of the pond, and then to the left, and then there was a middle portion, kind of to the. If you're looking at the main garden, to the right, and then obviously parcel C was alongside the garden and the baseball field going up obviously to Brookside Road. And the work is going to involve brush cutting, thinning out some of the trees along the pond, removing a lot of the invasive vines. We have what was in there, porcelain berry. God only knows if mile a minute vine was in there. Japanese barberry. Let's see, we had the mugwort. We had the Ailanthus, aka Tree of Heaven, in there. English ivy. All the buttercups have already gone dormant for the season. Obviously, there's probably going to be a few more stragglers in there. But obviously, the goal is, parcel by parcel, come in, ground clear everything that's designated for removal. Obviously, the natives stay. The goal is to recycle the plant material that we're also chopping down, because obviously, when we start removing all of these invasives, what's going to happen? You open up the upper canopy to more invasive species from filling in. So we kind of want to use, these trees and the brush, maybe run it through a wood chipper, which is part of the quote, to kind of recycle that, any logs and stuff that might be hiding in there as well too, and basically use those wood chips as natural mulch to kind of hold down invasive weeds coming in. And we go from obviously parcel A to parcel B to parcel C. I think C would be obviously the quickest along the edge over there by the main garden and the baseball field. Obviously, A is going to take a significant amount of work, especially along that big tree where all the vines were climbing up to it. And obviously, like I said, for those invasive vines, what we'll do is we'll brush cut them at the ground surface, as well as try and remove them 12 to 15 feet up to the canopy. And then over the course of the next season, the vines are going to break down. They'll leave the tree, unless you guys wanted to bring in an arborist to clean that up a little bit, but nature will do its part. And then, it'll be on a maintenance program going into the future, whether it's every week to 2 weeks, depending on growth. This far into the season, we're just a month or two away from going into the fall. So, one cleanup is pretty much all it's going to need going into the season, especially with this drought and this heat. Maybe one more spot touch up going into the winter, just making sure nothing's popping up, maybe 2. Nothing much, but, we're all pretty much, almost into August. And, it's probably going to take me a good 4 to 5 days to complete the whole project. And then obviously maintenance is very simple. It's just come in, and all the areas obviously that I've touched, I just have to make sure nothing is popping up, obviously just hack those down, mechanical and hand means only, no pesticides, etc. And just basically just keep everything knocked down. And obviously I knew there were some discussions about possibly planting in some native trees in certain places, but I left that out of it because I don't know what the goal is for that. So obviously that's not included, but planting a few trees, a little bit of labor is nothing crazy, depending on if we get a couple of people to donate or whatever. But basically I'm just looking at the entire map, alongside the pond. I was looking at all my photos earlier, and since obviously, like I said, we're pretty much close to August. Oh, I didn't see your hand up. Sorry.
That's okay. I was curious. I don't have the quotes in front of me, Charles, but
okay. I can pull them up right now. Hold on, I got a multi-screen, but basically I'll just walk you through them.
Actually,
Charles, while you're pulling them up, could I ask your cell phone number? And I'm going to send you what I just sent this crew, which is video, sent 4 videos of section A.5, B, and C.
Okay.
And our
Gotcha.
core area, I believe we were well, it's up to the team, but I think originally we were thinking about you concentrating on A1 to start with. But it's easier. So I have a lot of photos and I have videos. It's easier to send by text if that's okay.
Yeah, no. If you'd like to take it down now, my phone number is 203
mhm, okay.
524 2032.
2032, because the question, I have pictures from last winter, I have pictures from spring, I have
Yep.
pictures from last fall, and then I just took pictures in the summer. And I can remember Amy Doring asking, on one of our first walks all together, she was concerned, thinking, should we try and do it all before it gets big? And folks had said, not necessarily you're going to get them out when you're going to get them out. Make a plan. That's the most important thing. But my God, they're massive. And so that gave me pause when I looked at the numbers that you sent. And then, I don't know the last time you saw what's there.
I drive by every other week, and see, when I originally had met with Pam, we actually met at the end of summer during the fall last season. So I got to see a lot of the vegetation, and obviously I kind of had to pre-expect waiting for obviously approval for funds in order to service this. So I had to pre-plan ahead because it's a significant job. Like it's a lot. It is a lot. And luckily for me, I get to go out and do it, which is hopefully it's not going to be in this heat. Hopefully things cool down. But I was thinking if it's possible, we, like you said, you start with section A, focus on that one point and just see how that section goes for the season, going into the end of the season. And if it all works well, you can then maybe work into parcel B next season, give or take, and kind of start maintaining it, instead of attacking it all at all, because I just don't want it to be like a lost cause. Because imagine I brush cut, everything come summertime and it just takes off, like crazy, but it's going to be a lot of work to get in there and clean that place and get everything down to ground level so we can maintain it from the beginning again,
So can I ask this naive question? But
of course,
does it make sense? And believe me, we want to get in and get it cleared and all of that. But does it make sense to wait until these things start to die off? And then
I'm all for it. Like I was actually contemplating even asking, it would be very, very conscious to do this, at the cusp, the second at the end of the summer, early fall hits and, things start showing the signs of fall, going into dormancy, pulling nutrients back into the roots. Because the best part about doing it at that time is same thing with like poison ivy. The best time to kill poison ivy is at the end of the summer, early fall, because it's taking all the nutrients out of the leaves to store into that root zone for next season. So if you take that supply of nutrients that it's built up over the season in those leaves, before it pulls it back down to the root zone, you start nipping it at that time, it's not going to have a lot going into next spring. And then when you do with another maintenance visit, you keep on hacking them back, it's not going to have a lot of juice left in that in the root zone to continue.
Okay, so we wait until fall, which isn't a bad plan, but then we're going to have all the fruits, and that is the seed.
Well,
And
a lot of the bad stuff has already seeded. Like the porcelain berry, mugwort isn't really too much of a problem. Ailanthus isn't much of an issue. I'm really trying to get in.
Well,
think of what else was in there.
the berries will be present on the porcelain berry, and now you've got that taproot also.
Yep.
So you're cutting it at the ground, but the taproot is still in place.
Yep. There's no intention of disturbing the soil, because for how many years those seeds have been dropping.
You'll be regenerating them. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. That's why it's just a simple brush cutting. We cannot disturb the soil, because then you're just asking for more trouble. Like, have you ever added topsoil in the spring to your lawn or a garden? How many seeds you get? If you do it in the fall, you know, that's why obviously we do all of our lawn seedings in the fall, because with the cooler temperatures coming in, the weed seeds, the invasives aren't germinating because they need the warmer temperatures, you know. So
That's what I just did wrong. All right. I
You
mean,
have
I'm conflicted. I think August, and then I'll hush and I'll let y'all speak. But I mean, August, towards the end of August, a lot of people go away from Darien, and I know, you
Yep.
know, people have talked about we're going to be redoing. I think are we still
Yep.
redoing the tennis courts at that time? And so, if less people are there, it'd be a great time to be bringing in the equipment. It is just, woo! It's a huge
Yeah.
amount. Like we
Yeah,
can't,
I
we
mean,
couldn't even identify, Laura, what all the pictures I took when we last walked, and
yeah.
it's massive down there. But you know, if we're clearing out, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when everybody goes on vacation, you know, before school starts, you know, nobody's here. It's a dead town.
right. So you take the vines down, you're going to bag them? Because you don't want to
So
put that through a chipper if it's got the berries there and you're spreading stuff.
we could haul them off. It's just, I mean, it's most of those vines, you know, if you bag them, depending on if we, because I'm trying to think of the timing for the porcelain berry. I believe it might be late enough in the season. If we do it in August, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Porcelain berry. Let's just see what we got. All right.
And the same goes for bittersweet as well.
And bittersweet, yep. I'm trying to think.
Because that has a taproot, and those berries show up later. They're a fall for sure. And I think porcelain berry is actually early fall. I don't think that's a
Yeah, so porcelain berry is indeed September to October.
right.
So August would be a good time because they won't be viable
They won't be out
until.
yet.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
And we have a lot of it there, right, Laura?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the problem with all these vines is they're intertwined. So you're going to find poison ivy in there with it, and Virginia creeper, which is a native. And so,
Yeah.
you know, we have no issue with that. English ivy, you know, is a ground cover.
Yep, there's a bunch of it growing along the trees, going up the brookside in the field. That's pretty much. They got a couple small barberries and what was the privet hedge? There was a couple bushes of privet hedge in there as well
Right.
too. That's going to seed as well. I think they had a whole bunch of native sassafras along the other edge there too. But yeah, the English ivy is only a problem along the field in the garden going up to Brookside Road. The rest of it's just a bunch of random stuff.
The Japanese knotweed is an issue also, and that shouldn't go into a
Do
chipper.
they have that? Do they have that in the?
There's some deeper in. I think if we
Deeper in.
get beyond the vines, we might
So
stumble
we'll
upon
find it in
them.
there. Yeah. Yeah, that would have to be excavated to a degree in that local area, just because it's just going to continue to come up as much. If we can get as much as the root and then get it as small as possible, continue to maintain, eventually it'll peter out.
Right. And then if we're managing it that way, even with volunteers, if we know that it's there and we could just keep an eye on it, we might be able to conquer a small section of knotweed.
Yeah. If it's a small section, we could even just do what I did for my vegetable garden, just solarization. We put a tarp over it and just let it cook for the summer, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So I'm trying to understand. So I pulled up the part A. So
I got mine right here. Hold on, let's see.
I'm
So
pretty,
section A.
yeah, I'm pretty certain that we have, I don't know, the $6,000 to $8,000 for this.
Okay.
Is that what you recall,
All right.
Lori? I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's what it was, because everyone was really amazed, like in the beginning. But
Yeah,
is
so
part A, B, and C separate? Meaning, you know, are we choosing one of them?
no, so that was how I priced everything out. What I think would be a good idea is if I come in with the brush cutters, you know, and the wood chipper for all the big pieces and my labor, What we could do is, because I have how many hours in here? Roughly 80. What I was thinking was I go in as like a time and material with a do not exceed number, say for this parcel A. Now, I'm not a normal worker. You know, I like to work like a horse compared to some of the other guys. What I would like to do is take what hours I have for this $6,000 for parcel A, and literally just go in, attack from the from obviously in front of the pond, where obviously there's a little bit of thinning out of those trees in there, just to open up the view a little bit. Obviously, no removal over there, just thinning out some of those trees. But literally just going in from parcel A to parcel B, and literally if I can make these hours working with the 6,000 with my machines, you know, and if we can clear out this whole thing under this at a do not exceed, I'd be happy with that, and save you guys money for maintenance going into next season as well. I'm just trying to cover all my bases because it is a thick mess, you know. And there's
Right.
a lot of
So,
concrete, you know, cinder blocks in there, so I have to go in, kind of maneuver my way from my machine just so I don't damage them. You know, I'm just want to make sure I cover all my bases. You know,
right. So I was just a little concerned about the monthly maintenance on the bottom, the 1760.
At this point, so that would be if we had started in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
a monthly maintenance visit. At this point, I don't see anything close to having to be maintenance. Maybe a quick once over, you know, maybe like 2 hours for me and my partner to come in with hand brush cutters and just do a quick maintenance, since we're doing it so late in the season. So I think we can make it work, you know, as a T&M with a do not exceed of this number, you know, for parcel
Okay.
A. And I'll go in and I'll attack with my partner as much as we can with that allotted hours, and I'll get back to you at the end of that and say, hey, we got this far. And if we can do, you know, parcel A and parcel B, you know, and there's just a little bit of C left, you know, I'll just throw that in on the next maintenance, because all it is just cutting back some privet hedge and the what do you call it, the English ivy growing up the trees, you know, because I want to make it work for you. Obviously, I'm just trying to cover my bases, obviously, because I didn't know what time I was going to be able to get in there and attack it. But you know, if everything is about to go dormant, say August, early September, you know, I'll go in, brush cut everything, and maintenance will be completely minimal going into the fall.
Awesome.
And then we can transfer everything over into a maintenance visit, you know, reconvene in the springtime, see how everything's holding up. Obviously, you know, we'll come up with a new game plan for simple maintenance going into the summer, you know.
Well, what we need to do is come fall. We're hearing a lot of backgrounds. People want to turn off their mics, but we'll be budgeting for the following year
Yep.
too. That's something that we'll need to really keep in mind as well.
Yep.
With your, you know, in your professional opinion, moving forward with this, what should we set aside for fiscal year 24? So you don't have to answer that now, because obviously,
yeah, no, I've ran some numbers. I can get you that. No problem. Let me just
Yep,
see
no,
if I have.
I'm not expecting that now, Charles. I think that you need to go in there and experience what you're going to experience with all those.
Exactly. So that's why, you know, I feel if we go with that T&M idea of mine and just go in, you know, take control of it all. You know, go into the end of the fall. You know, it'll be a clean slate. Reconvene in the spring. You know, see how everything looks, and basically, you know, it's just going to be touch-ups after that point. You know. And hopefully, you know, like literally just come in with a brush cutter, you know, every other week for an hour or two. And all it is just nipping the little stuff popping up, you know, and let the natives flourish.
Yeah, Pam, I think we had 8,000 is what I recall. So verify that, but I have the number 8 stuck in my head. You know, I mean, my thought too is if we get into this and there's some work we really feel we want to finish up this fall, you know, I'll go back and ask for money. All they can say is no. But you know, I floated this when I was in front of the Board of Finance in this year's budget. It was a first-time request. I pointed it out. I said, this is not going to be a one and done. This is going to be part of our annual budget. There's a lot of work to do. So they asked us to start sizing it. So we're going to have a document and really put all this together. But if we're, you know, 80% there in this one area, you know, maybe we say we go back and we just say, look, we really need a little bit more money. And then we have to start sizing it, because we have other parks we have to deal with as well. It's not just cherry lawn. So
Mhm.
we really have to build out the longer term plan and get a sense of what is it really going to take year over year. And I think we're going to need an annual budget for many years to come on this. I really do. So
I think it's a great plan. Let's see what Charles can get done.
exactly. And then we'll have the before and the after pictures, and we can say, look, with this amount of money, here's where we got, here's how it looks. Here are the plants that we removed that were problematic, and remind everybody why they were problematic. And then we have something to showcase and just say, look, this was part of our park before. Look how nice it is now. Ideally, people now can go in and walk through it, or we'd be able to put trails in there. Maybe that's too much to think. I don't know, but
We have trails back there. We have trails that we did the wood chip trails behind there, but this is more towards the front. Charles, I have a question for you. When I first looked at the printout and I saw the 80 hours, I was like, wow, that's a lot of hours. Really? Is it that much? And then when I drove home from seeing it this afternoon, I was like, good golly.
Yeah.
What if it's twice that amount? And you're saying then there's a TNI number.
If it's twice, like I said, I'm a worker. I've been working in the field for 18 years in landscaping. The last company I worked for, Easterland, I did a lot of bidding. That was my main job when I became as much as I hated being in the office and doing management. I was obviously very nice, but I've bid out a lot of projects with this, and usually I'm pretty spot on. And that's why I like to do the T&M, because what I could do is, I start, say it's a Monday, for example, start Monday, 7 a.m. and literally, record the times as we go along, work an 8 or 10 hour day, and, report back to Pamela at the end of the day, photos, keep everything going. Because, the machines could do a lot of the work. The only thing I'm just worried about is just pulling out all the material that I need to in order to get the machines and the equipment, just so I don't break those. That's what I'm mostly worried about. The biggest, one thing that would save some good money would be the wood chipper. I know the town has one if they want to lend it, save you guys a little bit of money. But besides the 80 hours in labor, I think it's going to be pretty damn close to it. But if things go smoother than I imagine, and the machines do a lot of the work, and there isn't that much for obviously obviously the machines do a lot of the brush cutting. But if that stuff moves a lot quicker, and those 80 hours cover all three, or hey, if I work, if it's a lot easier and ends up being 60 hours, obviously I'll record day by day the week, and obviously the price comes down on a T&M.
You get a big fat beer from me if you get all 3 sections in, but
hey, I'm not going to make promises, but yeah, I'm not going to make promises, but let me tell you, that'll be the goal. If I can do it, I can do it.
It was just a reality check, and I'm thinking, wow, should we actually have you go down there tomorrow and look at it and see what I saw? But when you have all these years of experience, so if you were bidding on it as it was in an anticipation of it getting bigger, then you're the expert. And
and if things weren't, if we had started in the spring and maintained, this price, I would have just thrown out. I would have probably dropped it at tenfold. And because basically, everything's already died back for the winter, I would do a quick little brush cutting, everything's nothing, and then be a simple maintenance, just keeping things mowed down over the course of the season, so it's all about timing. So I kind of plan for the worst case scenario.
All right, Laura, you're I feel our expert. Are you comfortable with us doing it in the end of August?
Sure. My only comment was when you're talking about the potential of being able to create paths or whatever, but the real goal is to save the trees.
Yeah.
That's the goal. So it's not to create something else.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying to say, if we can demonstrate that it's right now, to me, it's unusable parkland. But if it can some way become usable in both its beauty, but just now it's not even like approachable, if you know what I mean. It's just something you're like, whoa, like what is that? So, but I hear you.
As habitat. That's
fair.
Where we separate here. I'm viewing this as fair. Habitat. So for me, I wouldn't even want to see all the dead trees going through a chipper, because I'd want to know who's using it. Is someone using that tree? Is that a home for somebody? Because I would hate for everything to just disappear.
So
That's
I
right.
have,
I do think that the
um,
edges of the property needs to be cleaned up.
so I'm gonna stem off of that, Laura.
Okay.
So when I worked with Chris Filmer a couple of years back, we worked down was it Heather Lane? That's along the water over there, close to Stanford, off of Hoyt Street. What is that? What is that down there? What's that little park?
The Hecker.
No,
Are you talking about Dunlap Woods and Selleck Woods?
no. Hold on. Let me homeschool. All right, where am I here? All right,
Oh, is there a
homeschool.
little arboretum or something?
Oh yes, so it's between the middles, Olson Woods. Olson Woods.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with Olson Woods. Obviously, you know the river runs right down there. So
Is
Chris
that
and
the
I, we worked.
preserve?
It's
Say it again?
land trust.
Is that the preserve that's there?
I believe, yeah, the land trust / preserve along the river.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So basically, what we did is we had a lot of storm damage in the waters, and what we did was we actually took out all the material out of the water, kind of opened up the flow. But what we did was we actually made natural habitats with all the wood. So we kind of stacked them up in little piles. You know, they started flourishing with the chipmunks and native things. So if you want to do something like that, I could take out the chipper, and reduce the price on that tenfold and just be straight labor and just my brush cutter machines.
Because I know Mary Louise wants more chipmunks in the park.
I don't need any more chipmunks because I got to relocate them. They destroy the tomatoes and everything else. And if you guys want a groundhog, I'll drop it off to your house too.
I have one
And
I
a
need
cat.
picked up, actually.
Pam,
And I got a boa constrictor in there, so you can have that one too.
Pam, is the huge tree that has fallen into the pond in Charles, is this part of Charles's,
So there's a big tree in the pond.
there's a big tree in the pond. Yeah.
I'll go swimming.
Is this part of his?
No, there's no. I don't have anything in there. I don't have anything for the tree in the pond. But I can go take a look at it and see if we can squeeze that in at some point. I just have to
Yeah,
get a little thing.
it's a pretty big tree, and Sandy and I
Yeah.
have already discussed getting quotes from a tree company.
Okay.
But Charles, you can give me a quote too if it's something.
Let me take a look first.
Only because if the first thing we're doing is thinning out the trees at the pond there to beautify it and make it so pretty, and then you have basically there's one huge log and then there's one tree that's fallen that it's just stopping the flow of the water. I know from the nature center people, they've have been testing it once a week with the water, like everything's stagnant. It's getting really gross.
Oh, it's that bad.
So,
I'll have to take a look at that because that's exactly what we did at Olson Woods. It was all getting stagnant. There was no more water flow because it was all blocked up from all the old storms. So basically, open that up. But I'll have to take a drive up there and look at that then. Yeah, because if it's a big log, you may need somebody with a winch in order to pull it out of the way, depending on the size, obviously.
Okay, so for whomever, it should be on our list. If we're going to be walking the Board of Finance through on our annual tour, Lori, that should not be there. So we want to have that, show them the before and after of what we've done, from August through. I guess that helps you decide you want to back them up a little bit towards September, around your weddings in October.
And Charles, that also can be not a part of the invasives in terms of funding. So if it's something that you and your crew can do, we'll price that separately out of facility repair and maintenance.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So when do we anticipate this starting, Charles? In early September?
Say, let me pull up my calendar.
For August, can you do the end of August?
Totally. All right, let's see what we got here. I don't know if you want to start, say, maybe either the 15th or the 22nd. What would be the best for you guys? I say we maybe go for the 15th.
Which month?
August.
August, yeah.
Well, will it matter? We do have the tennis courts being torn up and replaced, so that
Didn't have any effect on us.
Okay.
When are they starting?
They're starting mid August. I haven't got an exact date yet, but mid to the second to third week of August.
Okay.
Charles, I remember Yeah, I asked you that question specifically when we were down there walking. I said, Pam's going to be redoing that. Ideally, it'd be great to, hey, your lawn is cut, kind of closed down now, go
Exactly.
to
I like the time it. I like the time it at the same time. Perfect.
doing that. And you felt you could get in and get around.
Yeah, easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
There have been trees and plants planted there. I'll send you some pictures of that from the Pollinator Pathway group. But they've told me that they had checked in with Parks and Rec and to make sure that there was still enough of a pathway for you to get through your equipment. So
Okay.
I walk there. I think there is, but
And Laura, you're good with that timing?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I think it's always better to pick the earlier date in case, we have a hurricane or something, then we could always pick, there's still
No
time to
hurricane.
go in.
No hurricane. I say we plan for. I say we plan for the 15th. We'll wait for Pam to hear back from for the tennis courts. And we'll just we'll boogie after that, and we'll go in, knock it all out, see how far I go.
So do you need us tagging things that stay, or are you going to know it?
I think I'm pretty. I think I've been pretty good. What I'll do is I'll grab some landscapers tape and just mark out everything that I know really does need to stay, because obviously a lot of the ground cover and the vines are a gimme to come down. So it shouldn't, because I can privet all the other stuff, mugwort. I think I'll be pretty good. But what I'll do is maybe a week or two before we start, I'll make a round with the landscapers tape, mark everything. We just have another quick walkthrough with everybody, or just when you have the time, stop by, approve of everything that's marked for removal, and then we'll be good to go.
Perfect. Excellent.
Laura, are you around in August?
Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not talking.
You're the expert.
We look forward to working with you, Charles.
Pleasure's all mine. You guys stay cool out there, all right?
Okay, terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Have a good one, Pam. Later, ladies.
Pam, you're going to make the presentation on behalf of Sandy regarding the trees in heaven.
Yeah, he did not get back to me today. Him and Mike were supposed to get through the parks, figure out the tally of how many there were and when they would be able to start. So what I can say to you is just our brief conversation yesterday when we were together is that they feel that they can take a few of the smaller ones each month and get started that way. But I expect that he'll give me a better detailed report for the next meeting. So
there's one fairly large one over at Cherry Lawn, kind of in the corner between C and B. Do you think we could go after that one first?
Well, it all depends. But the really large ones, I don't know that our guys can do that. They know for sure that they can take out the smaller ones, but the real large ones may need to be taken down by a tree company.
Do we have anything in our budget? Laura,
Well, we have every year we have tree money.
We do.
Yes.
We have some left over at this point.
No, we just started a new fiscal year.
Okay, so we do have money to do that.
Right, but we do tree maintenance. Yes, we do have money to do that. But I would say that we want our guys to be able to take down what they can without using our funding, because we use a lot of that funding for emergency tree work. So we do want to make sure that we're conscious of that. And so let them. They're gonna make a plan for us.
All right.
And I believe they'll take a couple down this, not July, in August, and at least in August meeting we can report back and get better detail.
Okay, and the two or three that are down at the beach, around the gate that's left over, that also is in your plan to take that down? Take those down? Okay.
Can you define that 2 or 3 at the front gate, like before you're entering?
No. Patty, where that road runs off towards the Optimist.
Darien Junior Sailing Area.
There's a
Yeah.
stand of those kind of, in fact, Lori mentioned it because people are using it to sit
No, I
under.
know.
There's a lot of them. Laura, they're the ones that have like the orange, like flowers or buds or something, for lack of a
They're
better word,
blooming,
right
right?
now.
They're blooming right now. I'll send you I might have sent you
Right,
when I
yeah.
sent the pictures. I sent a tree of heaven picture. They're blooming right
Yeah,
now.
they're blooming right now, because it's interesting, when I was driving up Nearwater Lane yesterday, I noticed a bunch of them on that Stefanoni property that sits fallow, and I was like, oh my God, there's more of them. Because now with that orange bloom, you're like, that's them. It makes them very obvious. But yes, people are using them for shade at Weed Beach.
I would say we'll have our heads cut off if we take them down in the summer. Even in the, I would say let's not do Weed Beach until people aren't hanging out there. I just think we're starting to get good press, so let's stick with the good press right now. Yay, fireworks, right? So I think it feels like there's a lot of work. If they've got 30 trees around, they'll have a lot of work to do. It's so bloody hot, and people are sitting there under all of them. So
They are.
we're going to need
to remember,
take those down to put something big up.
and we have to remember and be sensitive to the fact that this is additional work too. So right now they have a window of opportunity for August and early September, but then their fall season begins, and that's a really busy time. So they'll do what they can, in August and September for sure. They're a hardworking group.
Okay.
I'll bring
So they can.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a certain size of tree that we're really going to need to bring in professionals. And again, we're going to have to figure out what they can do, and then we've got to budget for the rest and figure out when we're going to ask for that money.
Yeah.
They're not going to disappear right away.
Yeah. Can I ask a question of any of you? And I'm going to go to Laura on this first. So I can remember Chris Filmer saying, again, make a battle plan, have the plan, all of that. And trees of heaven are of concern, but they've also been here for a while. There's not on the beach, right at that front of the beach area where there are some trees of heaven, there's not so much that can spread. Could we consider keeping a few of them? I mean, we weren't even talking about them a year ago. So
No, you weren't talking about them a year ago.
I know.
But we've been talking about it for years. And the problem with this tree is the insect that wants to live there and then feed on all of our native trees. So you keep that tree of heaven, that spotted lanternfly is living there, and then it's going to go kill somebody's apple tree and somebody's maple tree. That's what they do.
Okay, I get that in the back in the short lane area where there's a lot of whole trees. I just didn't feel like there were many trees on the front end of the beach. But you're saying it's all going to travel because it flies.
It sounds like Laura can travel all over the neighborhood, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, if you go, I know you've been going up and down, there's a little book that when you go down Nearwater, Laura, about, 3 or 4 houses past mine on the left now, there's 2 very big trees and houses, they're just dead. They're just gone.
I noticed. Yep.
And you're like, what the heck happened to those? So I wondered if it's, one of these, lanternflies or diseases. I don't know what kind of trees those were, but it's pretty jarring.
Invasives are not just plants.
Yeah.
Insects are invasive. So this lanternfly is not a native insect. It is an invasive insect that has managed to find itself here, and it's very happy because it's managed to find its host plant, because that also has managed to find itself here. And it has no natural predator. Birds don't eat these flies. So nothing is going to kill it other than get rid of its host.
So we'll have to have a plan, Pam, for a shade structure where we're going to be taking down like 3 of them right there, or 2, like a shade.
There's more than 3. There's
no, I mean there's
10 or something,
one coupling and there's 2 in another coupling and all of that. Cheryl Russell's going to be saying, we need trees. She says it
Right,
more.
but we have another vendor that, or not vendor, but I just received a email, which I reported last night, of another church looking to plant more trees. So, we make our best effort to replace them with healthy trees.
And then we got to make sure that
They are.
there, as Lori was saying. Sometimes things get planted and then they don't work. So whether we figure out some kind of irrigation system or a plan, we'll have to.
Well, we have a choice. We'll have a choice with this group to put in the right trees. So we'll have to do our homework. Go ahead, Laura.
You need to plant a tree that wants to live near salt water.
What do you
Right.
suggest?
I'm very limited in what that is.
What like sand?
I don't know. We'll have to research that. But you don't see, I don't know, birch trees
No.
at the beach.
I think it's sycamore. Sycamore.
And sycamores are native, and they're leafy and beautiful. And they, that would be terrific.
And they get big?
Very
They get
big.
Okay, I think that sounds like a plan. I think this was
Steps forward.
right.
It's a long process, and I sort of view it as ecological landscaping. You did beautification landscaping in the front and your driveway to get in, but what we're thinking about now in the back, in removing the invasives and hopefully being able to put in some more natives and creating biodiversity. It's a restoration project is what it is. It's not a beautification project. And when you're restoring something, it takes longer.
Yeah, good point. Here's 7 trees that grow well in sandy soil: red oak, American arborvitae, paper birch, yellow birch, bur oak, eastern red cedar, and ginkgo. That sounds like something I should be taking to remember what I'm saying.
Oh, the ginkgo is a nice tree.
Yeah,
It's
well,
all
the
over New York
arborvitae
City.
isn't going to give you the shade that you're hoping for.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's true.
That's going to be the challenge where we'll have to be thinking about.
Birches aren't long-lived trees, so
Yeah.
you'd be looking to, replacing somebody in 15 years. Not that any of us would be in that discussion, I'm sure, but you want to give thought to longevity as well, and you can never go wrong with if you have an oak option to plant an oak.
Okay, now, do we want to meet in August? Or do we want to wait and see what Charles does? And
Maybe the meeting in August should be going to Cherry Lawn.
Yeah, site visit.
Okay.
And maybe tagging, so Laura, you can see what he tagged.
Right.
And say, no, we need to tag this and this also.
Because if he's
we also have a scheduled meetings that we've already posted through the town clerk. So we would, I don't know if our scheduled meeting is going to start is on the, before he's doing his work or after. Doesn't mean we can't cancel it and reschedule, but August is a busy month for a lot of people too.
Yeah. Does anybody have down when the August meeting is?
I think I have it on my calendar. I definitely have it on my calendar. Let's see, August. It's a Thursday. Let's see.
Usually a Thursday, right?
18th.
Yep, it's the 18th.
And he was talking about starting on the 15th or the 22nd.
Correct.
So then the 18th is probably a great time to have a discussion. I mean, we could easily walk the property after he tags it. If he tags it the week of August 11th or whatever before he starts on the 15th, and then we can talk about progress on the 18th.
And then would you still consider going over there independently of the meeting and just making sure things are
Yeah.
tagged? Okay, that'd be the only thing I would be concerned about. Like, he's already done the work and we should have tagged. But I have good confidence in him. So thank you, Pam, for finding him. Okay, August 18th.
Okay, I will not be able to be there, but press ahead.
But August 18th is virtual or on site?
On site, if we can.
Because it will have to be a special meeting if we change the location from virtual to that. So I'm just trying to stay on top of all that.
Leave it till we get closer to it, right? You can leave it till we get closer to it.
Yeah, let's wait till we get closer. We'll all reach out to each other.
Okay.
And then,
Because
Lori,
he
you
doesn't
can
get to start on the
boat that you're on in some tropical place where we'll all be envious with the breeze.
Well, it won't be tropical, but it'll be on a boat. So,
Well, if he doesn't get to start on the 15th, meeting on the 18th will, on site might be fortuitous because he will have tagged everything and we could walk the site before he gets started. So
Yeah.
making that decision at the last minute might be a good idea.
Okay,
Cool. Right.
great. Well, thank you, everybody. We're gonna, we'll have, yep.
oh, wait. Stop. I sent out just, and it was maybe right after lunchtime. Carolyn Bain, I don't know if any of you guys saw this, had sent some questions. I've answered them, but I just, since we were meeting today, I thought I would just run them by you guys and just say, look, she said it needs to be really brief. She didn't want paragraphs. She wanted just a few sentences to answer each of these questions. Sounds like she went through our minutes and the website and kind of picked some information up herself. But just, if everybody's like, yep, Lori, this covers it, I'll just shoot it out. But I just wanted to take that opportunity to ask folks if I covered things to everybody's satisfaction, or if you thought we needed to fix any of these up.
I thought the only word I would like to see used is restoration, just because I do think that that's what we're doing.
Okay, so where would I put that, Laura? Which question?
Maybe just under the mission. The mission of the working group is to develop, implement actions to identify, remediate, and restore cherry lawn, remediate the invasive plants that are taking over sections of our park. Our goal is to reduce and restore, or somewhere in there.
Reduce the risk and restore
our native plants.
Restore our native plants.
Or protect and restore our native plants from damage and disease, especially our trees. Yeah.
Restore native plants from damage. Okay, got it.
Great.
Okay.
But I thought everything else was very clear.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Do you know why she needed this?
Yes, it has to do. No, I think that it's a designation that Darien maintains in terms of, I think it was CT sustainability or something like that, and they actually have to send in an application every year or two. So they're getting information from the pollinator pathway and probably the land trend, all different groups, but she had heard about our activities and wanted to incorporate it into the application.
Well, that's good. Then we're
being heard about.
In getting some extra points. That's good.
Yes. I think that's it. It's just to give us extra points. So that's why she had reached out for the information. It was just a couple of days ago and I put it together and I was like, duh, we're meeting this week. So why not, make sure I check with all our experts and make sure that I've crafted, the wording and everything properly. So I'll get that over to Carolyn. And then she had asked if, she said, if you have any pictures, so I'll send along some of the pictures as well. But we only have the befores. We don't really have many afters.
Maybe just throw in, you're talking about how to have volunteers in the fall to continue the cleanup. Do you want to throw in the word "and on Earth Day"? Because that feels like that'll get us an extra point.
Now Earth Day we did work, right? You mean this past Earth Day?
Earth Day yes, we do work on Earth Day at Cherry Lawn. So anywhere in the focus.
Okay, throw that in. Got it. Okay, cool. All righty, I'll clean that up and get that over to her. So thanks for that input. Great, thank
Good.
you. I guess that was technically new business, but whatever.
Okay.
In the last 24 hours. All good.
So Mary Louise, you want to take us home?
Yes. Do I have someone who'd like to make a motion to adjourn?
I will.
Sure.
I make a motion.
Okay. So I think we're officially adjourned.
Yep.
Adjourn.
Okay.
4:15.
Everyone have a wonderful weekend.
Very
Thanks.
cool.
All righty, bye-bye.
Bye.